Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Call, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out big news. For those of you out there who are bullish electric vehicle batteries, and the minerals and metals are required to go in them, then you're going to love this interview with HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada HPQ, trades in US HPQFF. And that's because first thing you have to know, in an electric vehicle battery, which is typically a lithium-ion battery, there are three main parts you need to know about: the anode, the cathode, and the electrolyte. I'm not going to take you through a whole education on that. The only part we need to talk about, which is critical, is the anode, which plays a crucial role in how the battery works. Specifically, it acts like a storage container for the lithium ions. It holds on to them when the battery is charged, releases them when the battery is being used to power the car. So this flow of lithium ions back is what makes the battery work and allows your EV to run on electric power. Today, graphite anodes dominate the market, but they've essentially achieved their maximum performance in terms of energy density. Everybody knows this. So enter silicon. Silicon-based anodes have up to 10 times the energy density of a graphite-based anode. That's why Porsche, Mercedes, GM are betting on silicon anode batteries. However, like all good plot twists, while silicon-based anode material holds great promise, they're known to suffer from significant degradation during the charging and discharging cycle. Enter HPQ Silicon, whose patents have shown significant performance improvements in silicon-based lithium-ion batteries. And if they get that right, the market for silicon anode materials could reach $130 billion in just 10 years. And today, another big press release from the company, they take another step towards that. HPQ and NOVACIUM sign an MOU with US-based Ecellix, a silicon-dominant anode developer and manufacturer. Amazing third-party validation. Bernard, Silicon Santa, love the shirt. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. It's that time of the year where I wear the shirts in honor of my son.
The shirts are back. I love it. We'll talk about this one when we have a minute. But first, let's dive right into this one, because this is something you put out a lot of big news in 2023. This ranks right up there with a lot of them. And I want to start with this. Usually I ask you, how big is this? What does this mean? But here we've got some real third-party validation, because we know who the other party is. We know who the founder and CEO is. And Jerry Schwartz, the founder and CEO, said this: HPQ Silicon and NOVACIUM are global leaders in the renewable energy sector, quote unquote. That took me by surprise. Look, I love HPQ. I love NOVACIUM. I think we're doing amazing things, but I didn't think that we had reached global leadership status yet. How did you feel? What do you feel about that quote? What kind of third-party validation is that to hear that from Ecellix?
I basically know, the reality is I know a heck of a lot more than, some of the people out there. I'm probably one of them that knows the most what we're doing. And I know that we've built an expertise in the silicone materials for batteries. We really built that expertise. And we're following a very disciplined approach to what we're doing. And what happened was, Ecellix was a company under NDA, and they approached us, and we started to have our discussion. And one of the time we had a series of technical discussion with their CTOs and all those people. And what came out of that was that they were really excited about what we were doing in the battery space, and especially the surface treatment. And from then on, we started to discuss about the idea of signing an MOU, moving to the next step and preparing for the next step. And what's really great is this is another confirmation that the timelines that I present in the investor decks are relatively on track. Okay, the plans for Ecellix is to start building gigafactories to make their material, and they will need a silicone supplier, but they have very specific requirements, and we feel that we can deliver those requirements based on our experience. And also we feel that if we use the surface treatment, Ecellix might end up getting an additional bonus by using our treatment. Now, it's not an exclusivity. We can use that for everybody else, but they can get an extra bonus. So this is where we're starting to work on. This is where we're going about it. This is what we're going for.
Why should shareholders be happy about or feel optimistic about Ecellix? Obviously, it's not a household name by any stretch. I don't know who that company was before today. On its surface, it looks like a small team. Tell us why we should, as shareholders, be excited about Ecellix. Fill in some gaps there for us.
Well, first of all, the management team at Ecellix is all management teams that have run for Fortune 500 companies, big projects. So it's not something out of the blue. The guys we talk to about technology building up, they understand what they're doing. And they're about to enter a very exciting growth phase. Okay. They're not going to stay 4 people for long. That's really that is the goal. And that's the reason why HPQ has to be part of HPQ is part of the equation. So we will be part of the design, part of the ring fence of them growing up. So in the coming months, you'll be hearing more about the sense that, the milestone they're reaching in regard to building up their team to reach their goal of building gigafactories. At that time, we will continue to exchange material, test, see how we can fit in, where it comes in. So we have, there's more to this MOU than just, it's a nice little document. There is really a business strategy, which is actually completely coherent with what we've been saying for a long time. Okay? Made the SI material for batteries, which in this case is all going to be SiOX, a different level of material, and then basically start working with the next generation of leaders. There is so much demand for what we're doing, okay, that there's not going to be just one winner at the end. There's going to be multiple players that can play into this. And the beauty of HPQ's business model is that we can basically work with almost every one of them because we have much more flexibility than everybody else. We go from making our own silicone, SiOX, to additional materials. So we really have a vision of where we're going with this.
From what you said at the beginning of that answer, I want to focus in a little bit. So are you telling us that this MOU is actually part of Ecellix's growth strategy? You're that key. It's not just your run-of-the-mill MOU, but you're actually sounds like you're playing an important role in their growth strategy, not in terms of just products, but I'm assuming showing the market, maybe for financing or things like that for their growth.
It's gonna be mostly for regard to demonstration that we can do the material, okay, and then that they have then secured a North American supplier, and more specifically, it will, they've asked us to become a U.S. supplier. But as I've said, my strategy has really been very, very clear. We have a small, scalable production system that we're ready to send and deploy at the right places. So we fit on those criteria. And remember, Canada missed another chance of being in the game when they decided not to put silicone in the strategic mineral, but it is one in the U.S., which basically means it is covered by the NRA, is it the NRA or whatever, the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. NRA something else. Sorry.
NRA is the National Rifle Association.
Whoops, lapses there. So
that's part of the Inflation Reduction Act, you're saying.
Yeah. So
does this mean, Bernard, we may see the first modular reactor built in the U.S., maybe because this group's from Seattle? Is that potentially in the works? Is that something you guys envision?
The concept is to be able to ring fence the silicone material manufacturing next to where we're going to build a gigafactory. Now, of course, they're not ready to build a gigafactory tomorrow. Okay. And if you go take a look at our presentation, I managed for us 2026 for the QRR to be, bigger scale production and those issues. But, an overnight success takes time. Simple as that. If we existed 5 years, 6 years ago, basically, if we were where we are now 5, 6 years ago, okay, the unknown company or the less known company we might sign in could have been Silla nanotechnology. It could have been another one of those ones that are now more mainstream known. Okay, so this is the importance of this. This is the key. They want to work with us. They like what we do. They understand that we understand what's going on in silicon for batteries.
So their product, straight out of the press release, is an E-cell. It's called E-cell, and it's described as an ultra high capacity, porous silicon carbon anode material that enables a new class of lithium ion batteries that are offering significantly higher energy density versus today's industry standard, right? How vital of a role? What's the role that HPQ is going to play in the E-cell?
Well, they said silicon carbon. That's another way of saying something like SiOX. SiOX is made out of Si, which you need 3N Si to do. It's sort of funny. Like we announced a week ago, and remember a week ago I said something is coming along the line when we announced the patent for the converting the QRR into continuous SiOX manufacturing process. Well, SiOX is going to be the key ingredient for them. I don't issue press release just to issue press release I issue press release because they're part of milestones that we reach as we move forward, keep going forward.
Was that what took them over the Ecellix over the edge, where you announced that you?
No. Okay. What happened is, as I said, we signed an NDA with Ecellix many years ago, and they've now reached a point where they're starting to think, okay, we want to build our gigafactory. Okay, where are we going to get our silicon? Oh, we had this NDA with HPQ. Let's restart conversation. That's the same way we work with the fume silica. And then I said, oh, yeah, that's good because now we've reached this level of expertise. And we made a presentation of what we knew with the guys at NOVACIUM and SiOX. And that's when they realized, oh, these guys know. So that's where that quote comes from. They understand that we know what we're talking about. I said, oh, it would make sense to see if you guys could become our technology partner to make the material. That's really what we're doing.
Your discussion with them, I'd be curious to know this, and maybe the shareholders at home would as well. Did you have a sense for any other viable options that they had in addition to HPQ Silicon, or were you the one trick pony in this race, or are you the one horse in this race? What's your sense of that, if you can answer that?
Well, my sense of this is there's not too many people that can do small scale silicone 3N silicone manufacturing as feedstock. There's not too many people that understand how to make SiOX, what we're doing with NOVACIUM. And there's nobody else than us and NOVACIUM that have a surface treatment for carbon that can improve it. So we are unique in this area. I'm having the same type of discussion with another one in Europe that's doing those type of things. I'll start moving along as we start, relatively soon we'll start sharing to the world that we know how to make a batteries that's as good as everybody else, and we can make it better. We know the pathway to make it better. As I said, and I keep repeating this to people, okay? I'm following the fume silica strategy. Is wait until you reach something milestone, and we've reached a big milestone here. Okay, I know the reality is FUDs don't have a clue what's going on. Paid FUDs that are basically panicking and making incredibly stupid statements. There's only 4 people. Yeah, I know, but these guys have worked for Fortune, for Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 50 companies. Okay, they understand what it takes to build gigafactories because they understand that those are billion-dollar projects. It's not something they haven't done. I'm sorry, it's not George battery manufacturing. These guys are. Okay,
George Calm, buddy. George Calm. Get the brand straight. But you're right. Straight. This isn't George Calm.
No,
battery manufacturers say, hey, Bernard, I'm a guy named George. Send me some silicon. I think I'm going to build a gigafactory. These guys know what they're doing. And by the way, I'd love an opportunity to have them on if that's possible. I have no idea if that's something they'd be open to, but I'd love to have them
I think
on
they're interested.
I think from the shareholders.
Yeah, I think from the emails I'm getting now, their interest for us is more to start, getting down to doing the nitty gritty and the materials and exchanging information, and those type of things, and moving forward. But and the beauty of this MOU for HPQ is it actually fits our development strategy or pathways to develop and monetize our technology. Okay, And I understand, it's like we're following a business plan, we're executing it, and it's coming to fruition. And when we, yeah.
So on that note, the question I had for you here is, okay, take us through, generally speaking, the steps between, because you said just a minute ago, you get the sense now they want to get going with you, right? So what
Mhm.
are some of the steps between here and the gigafactory goal for Ecellix?
Well, they have very specific demands for their material. So and it's not everybody can do it. And so we're going to start looking at, how we can manufacture it and get that done. But at the beginning, it's very small quantity, so it's relatively easy. It's mostly lab scale type of work. But then we'll have to start looking at, okay, if this works, then we'll have to, start sitting down and figure out a more serious way to move the project forward in doing this. But that's already like sort of covered in the MOU, in the sense that the next steps are already thought off and planned. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing. I'm pretty sure they're going to want us to start, doing some surface treatment on their material to see if it does have an impact on what they're doing.
You guys had a number of quotes in here. I read an excerpt from Jerry Schwartz, the founder CEO. You have a joint quote in here. Our goal, this is HPQ, NOVACIUM, Ecellix. Our goal is to position HPQ and Ecellix at the forefront of the energy storage revolution by supplying cutting-edge silicon-based materials for next-generation batteries. That's a BHAG, a big hairy something goal. I forget what the A stands for. Everyone marketing knows that. Is that just a big vision statement, or Bernard, and I don't doubt you ever, but that's a really big vision statement.
That's more them that wrote it than me. That's more them that wrote it. Like, this press release was done. I did mine, sent it to them. They came back, and that's them coming back. So it's like, we've been doing good conversation. We move forward. It's actually it's a pretty easy, match, because we're not competing against each other. We're complementary what we're doing. And the reality is, the size of the market is going to be so massive that there's room for plenty of competitors. It's just, we have a unique value proposition in that regard. And we intend to extract as much advantage of it as possible.
Given the profile of the founders of Ecellix, Schwartz and the other group, and HPQ, let's face it, you guys have a great global, clearly, with your silicon capabilities. Does this press release today, because it's way too early for the phone to, I always ask you as the phone started ringing, way too early. It's one day, but do you think this gives you guys even greater visibility now? Does this perk more ears out there as towards HPQ Silicon?
It does, but we're going to continue to execute on our business model and keep doing it. And we know that there's going to be more and more people coming in and wanting to talk with us and work with us. But we have a very well-established pathways to get us there. This is a massive market. Massive. And the beauty in HPQ, okay, is that this could be more than sufficient to be one company, right? But it's not just that. We have something even better in the fume silica. So,
even when the press release is not about fume silica, it's hard not to address how important fume silica is to that. That's amazing. Going back to my question there as a follow-up, because I wasn't sure how you're going to answer it. I look back the press release on October 26th, when NOVACIUM, you guys acquired the patents for the silicon anode materials, and you said back then, promising preliminary discussions have already started to take place with entities already under NDA, with HPQ NDAs, actually. There's a reason why I really focus on that with HPQ on the potential of this technology. So clearly, I guess you had in your mind when you're writing that Ecellix was probably in the mix somewhere. Are there other Ecellixes, other Georgecom? Well, not Georgecom Silicons, but are there other Ecellixes that potentially should we be looking for potentially more things like this? Not a guarantee, but are there other conversations?
Nothing is guaranteed, but there are ongoing discussion with different size parties into it. But some of them will wait us till we publish our first results on the efficiency of the material. We're completely going to redesign our investor deck really to differentiate more the three companies that are within HPQ, especially now that we've got the nano reactor. So fundamentally, first one is fume silica reactor, which is one, HPQ Silica Pulveris. Second one is going to be silicon for battery initiative, and that's going to cover the entire gambit. And that will that will end up using the QRR silicon as feedstock. But QRR material, and this is what people have to get into their head. Okay. QRR material is a silicone that's 3N. Okay. At one point, we were buying it at $6,000 a ton. Now it's selling for $2,800 a ton. So that fluctuates. That is a commodity market. As I've said, that's a commodity market. We go after specialized niche. What makes us be able to do specialized niche is because we take our silicone, 3N silicone, we make it SiOX, then we make it into battery grade material with multiple applications. And that suddenly, lo and behold, that material, that right now is selling for $2, could be selling at $6 in 6 months. It fluctuates like this, okay? But that the end battery material sells for $50,000 a ton, and that's where we're aiming. That's what we're doing. Within this, then everything else becomes economical for the entire beginning to end. So people should realize that I know more about this market than they do, okay? And if I'm not focusing my life on trying to get, selling, 50 tons of 3N Si at this specific moment, is because I'm much more preoccupied on making sure that I get order for, 1,500, 10,000 tons of SiOX battery material at $50,000 a ton. That's what I'm working on. And we've shown in our presentation.
Wow.
We've shown in our presentation that we have a pathway to do this, okay? The issues I have learned, okay, is that the definition of fast, okay, is relative. I have investors from the Middle East, okay? They call me and they tell me, I'll call you back soon. 7 days later, I text them, please define your usage of the word soon, okay? So everybody has their own relative timeline. Retail investors, traders, their timeline is nanosecond. They're like a dog, and that's fine. We need everybody. I'll give an example that I had when we did the financing for the government. Okay, when we got the government, when the Quebec government started to invest in HPQ, I was like, I was tired of doing all this shit. And it said, oh, it only took you 7 months or a year to get this? That's fast for government. Okay, but that's reality. Okay, everything is different. But the beauty of HPQ at this specific moment is we have so many of these projects that are moving in parallel. And you know what's going to happen? They're all going to give birth at the same time in an insane way. In the fume silica reactors, one of the majors we're talking to says, oh, if it's really fast, it's going to be 6 months, but maybe 4 months. And I tell them, fine. But then, if it's 6 months, the price is not going to be the same, because in 6 months, we'll have proven something. You understand what I'm saying? So we're following on a business plan, which is very clear. We're adding value by doing development. Okay. And don't judge the value of HPQ on its daily variation, because we're building a very strong foundation. And I've always said that junior companies like us, okay, we trade by tsunami wave. It's like surfing. But when the wave comes, we live one, during COVID, which was a bit insane. But I keep saying, and I stand even stronger to that position, that the HPQ that we now have should be worth, based on that wave, even much more. There's no problem for us to justify that value. I've run some of the number for the fume silica, look through the roof. Even at the, even if I use like massive discount rate, through the roof. And that's even if we take what, 3% of the market, 4% of the market. And remember, we're making the material 80-90% cheaper. In the battery space, there's not too many people doing what we're looking at doing to make that material. So there's going to be more and more people interested to us. It's a second big business line. And we still have the hydrogen. So HPQ is, that's one of the reasons I'm very busy right now, because I have so many of those issues at the same time, which is good.
I'm going to ask you, so you're not let's see if you can get it right. HPQ is not A1.
Or whatever it is. I've screwed them up so many times, I'm gonna forget it.
No, but you talk. By the way, financing, last thing, it's closed. You did close it at premium to market, but it was less than what you had wanted, but you kind of described that. You kind of explained that last time. Any comments there about the financing?
It's first of all, okay, to be able to close at premium to market, excuse me, I think it. Yes, the amount is smaller, but Fudster should remember, I know more what's going on than they do, okay? And my feeling is the people that basically decided to chicken out will be the one that will be regretting it more than me. And as I say, everything is fluid in what we do, okay? Because when we started the financing, we had an X series of event, and in the middle of it, some other X series of event that changes the entire positively the equation. There's things that I can't really discuss because they're internal to the business until they become external. But there are things progressing, and I've said in my press release multiple times about the fume silica. Okay, we feel very although there's no guarantee, we feel very confident that we will get a deal for getting us to commercial scale, and this is going to be pretty big. So
3 shots at it. You got company A, B, and C.
Well, there's more than 3 shots.
At the end of the
day. George, there's more than 3 shots. I think we were having an off discussion. People have to realize that fume silica is very price elastic. So if you move the price, you'll get the buyer. And the reality is, Georgetown Fume Silica Company, with all your $1 billion of cost of building your material, your price of activity is very, very small. Okay, I can come in and sell it. You've seen it for gas. Gas is a few cents cheaper. People line up to buy it.
Yeah,
Okay,
they'll line up for 30 minutes. For 4 cents.
Okay, for 4 cents. Okay, fume silica is going to be the same thing. But remember, okay, you can't go down more than X. I can go down. So you'll die even before it hurts me.
And the green credits. It's not just straight price.
And you had the green credit. So it's I understand that it's a complicated thing to people understand. And I also understand the counter argument. Well, Bernard, if this is so great, your stock price should go through the roof. It doesn't happen overnight. As I said, an overnight success takes time to deliver. But what HPQ is doing, and that's what we're announcing with this MOU in the battery space, we're advancing every one of the steps. Fume silica is the same thing. Hydrogen is going to be the same thing. It's
when you say that, that reminds me of a very good friend of mine back in 1997, 96, 98, somewhere there, who was banging the table and say, buy Apple stock. Buy Apple stock, and here's why, and here are the reasons, and I'd be like, wow, the stock's only $8 a share, and he goes, this is this and this and this happened and this. Didn't listen, and but that's a great example of, by the way, I'm not trying to tell everyone at home that HPQ is going to be the next Apple, but that
coming from a guy that doesn't even use an Apple phone. That coming from a guy that doesn't use an Apple phone. That's Samsung guy. You're a Samsung guy. You're not an Apple guy. Not like me.
So that's I can't live with myself. I wouldn't be able to carry around an Apple phone, knowing that I didn't buy Apple at $8. I could have bought it for like 3 years at $8 a share. So I'm not gonna make that same
Yeah.
mistake with HPQ Silicon, that's for sure. All right, my friend. Listen, it's November 28th today. You got the first of hopefully more Christmas shirts that we're gonna see in honor of Sebastian.
Mhm.
But am I right about that? I'm assuming because, like I said, August I'm on vacation in Greece, and I think we did 2, if not 3, interviews. So, are we going to see more Christmas shirts between now and the end of the year? Should we expect to see you on again?
George, you know full well I can't really answer this. But this being said, there are a lot of things, parts moving within HPQ, right? And once they reach a certain level of maturity, we can go in and we will talk about them and get them moving. There are a lot of moving parts what we're doing, and they're all fit of the same. They're all part of the same goal, which is to develop the green technology that we are doing, and that's really what we're doing. And it goes back to the last time. It says, in the battery space, it's going to be incremental improvements that are going to move it, but that's the key to it, and that's really what investor base look for. They want something secure, incremental moving forward. Fume silica, we're so disruptive that we have one issue left to resolve, which is demonstrating scalability, which we don't think is a big issue for reasons that we know, we're not going to go out and explain to people, but we understand how to scale that up. And the same thing for hydrogen. So yeah, I don't know, George. It's like
I know you can't guarantee it. I always ask it, and the fact of the matter is, it usually happens. So I hope there are other Christmas shirts hanging, ironed, ready to go in anticipation, and we'll see more. But for today, I think I speak on behalf again. I think I've said this a dozen times in 2023. I speak on behalf of all, or 98.5%, I think, of HPQ shareholders say, you're doing your job on the business side. And this is just more great news today. And who knows? Maybe we will get Jerry from Ecellix or somebody from his team on here at some point in the future if you can ask him. But for today, buddy, congratulations to you, the team. Have a great day, Mr. Silicon Santa, and can't wait to have you back, hopefully in the very, very near future.
Okay. All right, sir.
To anybody at home, you've been watching or you've listened by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Bernard Tourion, CEO, HPQ Silicon, Trades in Canada, HPQ, for friends in this, HPQFF. Do your due diligence on Agoracom, then hop over to the company's website. Hop over as fast as you can because that deck, from what Bernard said earlier, is going to be changing again. I've never seen a company change its deck so many times, but hey, that's good news. Thanks for joining us,
George,
everybody.
we change our decks when we reach milestones. We keep reaching milestones, so like we keep having to change it. That's just that.
I wish I was your deck creation guy and you're paying me by the upgrade because it means I'd be a very rich man this year. Every time you call me up and say, "Hey, redo the deck."
I'm just a very busy man.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you, man. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody. As always, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to seeing your comments on YouTube, on Agoracom, on social media, all over the place. Always love to hear them, and even the ones that make fun of us and me in particular, we get a chuckle out of them. Bernard and I. So keep those coming. But for everybody else, love your comments. Thanks for the feedback. See you next time.
Hey Small Cap fam, I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agoracom? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agoracom small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.